Good morning, everybody, and thank you for tuning in to the Agent Spotlight. Today, I'm joined by Gina Mazer from RE/MAX Tri-County. Gina, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah,
wonderful opportunity.
Absolutely. I'm so happy that you were able to join us. And I first wanted to start out like I normally do by asking, what drew you to real estate? How did you get started? And, how did that go for you the first few years?
Well, let's see. Do you have a bottle of wine and a couple of glasses?
Sure. I mean, on the other side of the office, I could probably find that.
There we go. But no. So I had done a semester over at Brookdale Community College. I grew up in Monmouth County. And after a semester, I was like, wow, this is not for me. Yeah. College just isn't my thing. So I was sitting at the kitchen table with my dad as an 18-year-old, maybe 17 only at the time.
Yeah.
And he's like, why don't you get into real estate?
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, because then kids, I listened to my dad.
Yeah.
So I did. That's what I did. At 18, I got my real estate license. I did work for a top agent out in Monmouth County at the time, like as his assistant.
Yeah.
And did also, well, actually, let me back up. Before that, I did sell on my own. But as a 18, 19-year-old kid, it's difficult.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way. You just don't have that life experience that it takes. So that's when I went to work for the agent as his assistant. And then I just have been in real estate in every aspect since that time, pretty much.
So that's awesome. Yeah. And there's two things I wanted to jump in on that, because you have a similar story to somebody else I interviewed, one of our agents out of Cranford, Justin Bullock. Okay. His father actually told him to get into real estate too. Oh, okay. He was the same age, like 17, 18 years old. And, he was advised by his dad. He's like, hey, you should check real estate out. Have you ever asked your father, like, why he said that in the first place? Like, what about real estate did he say, like, oh, you know what, Gina's going to be perfect for this?
Funny you say that. So all these years have gone by.
Yeah.
And I just called my dad the other day and I said, Dad, I'm going to be interviewed. Why did you tell me to get into real estate?
Yeah.
So I always was a social butterfly in school. And he felt, oh my gosh, she's probably, perfect. She can talk to people. She has no problem. I could literally talk to strangers in stores. I have no problem with that. And he felt if I just got the education, I'd be a natural at it.
Yeah, and then here
Fast forward, here I am.
Yeah, so sometimes it's like your parents know you better than anybody else, and that can be like excellent advice.
True.
So yeah,
very true.
Thank you to Gina's father for pointing you in
Dad.
for pointing you in the right direction. The other part too is being mentored by like a top producer. Can you talk a little bit about that time? Like, were you doing any sales at all, or were you more just like soaking up the business and the experience?
It was pure osmosis. Yeah. It really was. He was the out there guy, and I was behind the scenes and doing all the stuff, dealing with the clients as well at a young age. But he did most of the groundwork, and I was, like I said, more behind the scenes. But I did learn a lot. We shared an office space together, and from there it just you took it all in.
Had the intention of doing it full time for yourself eventually, or were you just saying like, hey, listen, I'm just going to work for this guy, and if I like it, maybe I'll try it, or let me just at least see what the business is all about?
I did always like it, I have to say. And at some point I was like, I do want to do this for myself.
Yeah.
But the time just never felt like I'm like ready to do that. In the mindset of, oh, it's not a paycheck every week. Oh, it's not health benefits. Oh, it's this, it's that. You're on your own. And like I said, I was very young.
Yeah.
So from him, I did take a break. I went into retail and managed a clothing store.
Yeah.
Maybe for a year. And I was like, wow, this isn't me either.
Yeah.
So then I went to work for a big corporation real estate company as a administrative side. And then I got promoted to RVP level, which was really cool. So I feel like I have a lot of experience in the back end too of real estate.
Right.
That I think has helped me grow into the agent I am now because of the different aspects of knowledge I have for real estate.
So starting at, 17, 18 years old, how old were you when you really got started and said like, okay, I'm going to do this full time, or like, hey, this is where I'm going to actually start making sales?
So it was in 2005.
Okay.
I had taken some time off prior to that to have my children.
Yeah.
And then it was time to get back into the working world. And I told my then husband at the time, going to reactivate my license and go into sales. And I'm sure he was like, oh my God, I said I need you to go back to work, not sales. So within 6 months, my first year, I had made Circle of Excellence.
Wow.
So yeah, I love a challenge.
Yeah.
So, I didn't want to go back to 9 to 5. I wanted the flexibility to be with my sons, to do stuff with the schools. So for me, it worked. Put a challenge in front of me and I'm in.
And we talked a little bit before we got started, especially about you being the social butterfly and in being perfect. But it sounded like that the years of experience in the admin position really gave you the strength to be able to get started right away and know what you were doing and hit the ground running, because for any agent watching that's just getting started or looking to get started in the business, 6 months to really start hitting your stride is very, very quick.
It's very odd. Yes, I get that. But I had 20 years behind me already, 15 years, of real estate, working around agents, I could see an agent come in, new agent, and I knew right away if they had it or not. I hate, it sounds probably kind of horrible to say that, but it's either in your own or it's not.
Yeah.
It's a lifestyle. It's not a job. It really is.
You're right.
It's a lifestyle. That's all there is to it. It's not a job.
Gotcha. So so you hit the ground running once you got into sales, and then I'm assuming pretty immediately, especially since you hit Circle of Excellence so quickly, you're just like, oh, this is it. This is my career.
Is my thing. I loved it.
I'm gonna stick with it.
Yeah.
So then talk a little bit about the first few years in the business, the 2005 to 2010 period. How was that going for you? Because I know we had the 2007, 2008 market crash. How did that affect you, and how were you able to get through it?
I got through it. Obviously, not as prosperous.
Yeah, of course.
But stuck with it.
Yeah.
And persevered, and then the rest of the years, it just became, really awesome as the time has gone by. A key point was when Rosalie kept saying, you need to come to RE/MAX, you need to come to RE/MAX. And once I did, it has been nothing but uphill.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's great to hear.
Yeah. It has totally changed my career.
So then tell me a little bit about how you view either the transaction or how you work with your clients, and how do you give them the Gina experience and saying okay, I'm going to provide excellent service to my client. How do you view that process? How do you make sure that people are satisfied and you're helping them to the best of your ability?
Well, you're just meeting me, but I am very personable. I feel like as soon as somebody comes into my circle of them needing my help, I am a part of their life for that glimpse in time for them. I want to hear about their kids. I want to hear about how they did in the soccer games. I hate that the pandemic hit. I love putting people in my car. That's the best time.
Oh my God.
That is the best time to get to know people.
You're the real realtor.
So now I'm driving around in this big car with me. So, yeah. But that's the Gina experience. And then I stay in touch with people. I don't go away after the closing. I'm there. I want them to call me when they need, a professional to fix something, or, hey, Gina, I want to get my kids involved in something. What did you do when your kids were, little, So I'm kind of there for it all.
Yeah. And but more than that, past that point of the transaction, which I think is super important, which is where most agents, fail to make a lasting impression, because as soon as the transaction's done, that they're pretty much gone out of their clients' lives. Can you talk a little bit more about the experience, how you stay in touch with past clients?
Yeah. So in the past couple of years, I've also started using a system with Buffini.
Okay, great.
Prior to Buffini, though, I was kind of Buffini-ish on my own.
Yeah.
I would always send a refrigerator magnet on their anniversary.
Yes.
Happy, 15th home anniversary or whatever year it's been, which is kind of crazy when I'm saying 15 years to some people.
Yeah.
So that I've done that, now activated the Buffini system, which is a newsletter every month. Some of them I've started actually popping by their homes with it instead of mailing it. I handpick a few out of the 100 I send, and alternate every month. So I'll pop by with a few things, and the Gina Mazer pens have been a big thing. That's awesome. My little signature thing I've done since I've been in sales. So the pens are a huge hit. And it's kind of nice because it's also funny is my kids now will be like, hey, Mom, can you give me a few pens? Because instead of handing somebody my card, they'll hand them my pen.
The pen,
So it's become ingrained in my own children, which are not children anymore.
Yeah.
My young men, I should say.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nice. It's a nice touch. But as far as me staying in touch with people, either I pick up the phone, I get on the phone with them, I'll shoot them a text because some people don't want to talk all the time. But just staying out in front of them. And I'm going to tell you, most of my business is referral based at this point.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it wasn't that way in the beginning, but after 16 years, it is.
Yeah.
You know?
And that's perfect. That's what most agents try and strive for. People that are outside of the business, like, we love referrals. Those are the best clients to us because, they already know you, like you, trust you, or it's a much easier process to get them to know you, like you, trust you when they're being co-signed by somebody that you've already sold a house to, or that somebody that already likes you. Yeah. So those are great. So send your referrals to Gina, everybody watching. I also wanted to ask, how have you been advising your clients in the past, year since the market changed, and you have a lot of experience, under your belt. So how have you been talking about this current market for people maybe that are not looking for a home or not looking to sell right now? I'm sure everybody's heard about, how tough the market can be. So how are you explaining that to your clients, whether it be the buyer or the seller? Right.
So right off the bat for the buyers, I let them know because they've heard about how crazy the market is, but I'll let them know, hey, listen, if you are looking for a deal, this isn't that market. You need to come in super strong. You're going to be up against several offers.
Yeah, at the very least.
And you got to boost up every aspect you have, either be it their down payment, their closing timeline, any of those variables that come into putting an offer in because they've got to shine. And sometimes it's not even that.
Yeah, exactly.
Sometimes a seller, because now on the seller side, they have all these offers and honestly, they're confused. They're looking at all the same number, all the same terms of closing. So it's a matter, with the sellers, they're also a little oh my God, which one do I pick?
Which is what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people attempt to do for sale by owners, maybe a little bit more than normal. But I'm also seeing a lot of those same people list with an agent within a week or two of being on the market. Because again, they hear that these properties are going for these really, really high prices, but that's only one piece of it. They might get the offer that they wanted, but they just don't know how to interpret it and to be able to make a distinction between which is the best one, or which person's going to actually get to the closing table.
Correct.
And I think now more than ever is super important to be using a realtor because it's just, they could feel lost, or they can say oh, I don't know, if this is actually going to get to the closing table. I thought it would be easy to get offers. It was, but how do I actually?
But how do I read the offers? What's really going on here?
Yeah.
And the average homeowner, just doesn't know. We do it every day.
Yeah.
So there's some things that they may not be aware of or not noticed in the contract, and that's where a professional definitely would come in.
Yeah, especially with, people, it being the norm now to waive appraisals or waive inspections, and how do you put that verbiage in the contract? When can you ask for it? When can't you? And stuff like that. So there's just so many moving pieces in this market that it's
I agree.
It's more important now than ever to, it's always important to explain it to your client, but they need up-to-date information because this market's something that I've never seen before.
Me either. Me either. I'm not sure anybody has.
Yeah.
It's funny. My boyfriend also is an agent, and I said to him the other day, my analogy of this market.
Yeah.
So, when you're on the beach and you throw a potato chip and all the seagulls come.
Yes.
To me, the potato chip is the listing.
Yes.
And the seagulls are all the buyers.
Yeah.
It's just a frenzy.
Yes.
A frenzy.
So I have to ask this. So you said your boyfriend's in real estate. When you guys are out to dinner, do you even talk to each other? Or are you just constantly texting and taking phone calls?
No, we definitely talk to each other. We definitely do. Neither of us are quiet.
Yeah, the joke being in the industry is like anytime like I'm out, you'll get phone calls like throughout the night or text from your client. So I could only imagine two realtors being together and just like the phone just blowing up constantly in this type of market.
Yeah,
so
no, we're actually very aware of that.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Kind of, yeah.
Perfect. So, since you have so much experience, I kind of wanted to ask, like, about newer agents and what kind of advice you have for them, because we're getting a large influx of brand new agents to the market, for better or for worse.
Right.
You know, there's people that are joining the market right now because they hear that the prices are going crazy. They hear that there's a lot of buyers in the market, but they might be a little uninformed about like how difficult it is right now to be able to provide, the best service for your client. So, but some of them are going to do it anyway, and those are going to be the ones that are going to stick, through it and make it as agents. So what advice do you have for the agent that should either get out of the business or stay in?
Well, it is certainly a unique market for a new agent to start. That's for sure. For example, when I started, and most agents started, you start by doing open houses, you contact your sphere of influence, you build it slowly. That is kind of crazy right now. If they did an open house right now, they would be like, oh my God. They'd probably leave, lock up the house, and probably leave, because I've not even done an open house at this level of experience. Right. Because it's not productive to really anybody. Yes. From what I'm hearing. I mean, 20, 30 people standing out on the sidewalk waiting to get in.
I had a client where I took them to an open house, and there was probably 50 people in line. Yeah. It took an hour and a half to get in for my client to the property, just to see the house and just say like, I don't like the house. It's a lot of time invested. It's a lot of frustration.
So if they get through this market, I think they're in.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a huge challenge.
And what I say,
it's just so aggressive. There's really no other way to put it, right?
What I say, I say to agents that are just getting started, it's more important now than ever to be shadowing agents and getting an 100%. Idea for what it is, because your value proposition as a new agent should be like, hey, I'm going to work tireless hours for you to, get the property, to find you a property or to get your property sold, because they're newer, they have less experience, they should be, more of a go-getter. But everybody's putting in that type of effort right now for their clients. So unless you have that experience, unless you have some information to be able to bring a buyer or seller, then you're not going to be as effective. And then, you can get that experience by shadowing agents, which is, maybe popular when the market's a little bit slower, but I think honestly, like, new agents should be tagging along with more experienced ones.
That's a great idea.
Normally, but like, especially now, in order to just say like, hey, listen, like, you really got to know what's going on. You got to be in tune with the market, or else like you're not going to be any help.
The normal ways that it was done is, it's not, it's got to be tweaked. Like, even if they do want to do an open house, they probably should do it with another 2 or 3 or 4 other agents. Yeah. Just to make it productive. For them to start building their confidence, start building their database, I think would be a good idea. Yeah. But it's got to be in multiples, not old school way, for sure.
Yeah. 100%.
You're not doing things alone anymore.
100%.
Yeah. You just can't handle the numbers, the mass of people.
And I also wanted to talk about, because you're no stranger to video. You've been doing video for a number of years, and we talked about that before we interviewed. And you said that like one of your first videos that you did was at an open house, and like, ever since that point, you've been doing them more and more consistently, especially over the past few weeks. When we had the video challenge, you were one of the ones that did really, really well with it. So can you talk a little bit about your experience with now being in the video space and like how that's helped you?
Well, like I said, I did it sporadically, would be the perfect word, years ago. I would do it at an open house, give a little tour, maybe even talk about some random type of subject. Yeah. I can't remember now because it was a while ago when I did it. Yeah. And then stepped in the challenge. Yeah. And Gina loves a challenge. Yeah. So I was like, okay, I'm doing this. Yes. And now I've been doing it 1 to 2 times a week. I didn't want to like inundate people and bore them either. You know what I mean? Yeah. And how's the feedback been? The feedback's been very good. The interesting part is people recognize you now. Yeah. It happened actually at our last week, our mastermind. Yeah. Somebody walked up beside yourself. Yeah. Somebody walked up to me who's never met me and knew who I was. Yeah. Another contact or friend on one of my Facebook videos, she tagged somebody and said, this is the realtor I've been telling you about.
Yeah.
So that, it's kind of nice. Now this person has seen me, seen my face. We've connected since off of Facebook. So it's nice. Would that have happened without the video? Maybe. You know what I mean? But I think now she put a name and a face together. And I think that helps everybody. People buy people before anything. Well, and you could be the best salesman in the world, but if they don't like you,
then it's over.
You're out.
And I was going to say too, like the videos are perfect. Like how you said before, like, people are going to either buy into you or they're not.
Right.
The video is the perfect way to do that. Cause it used to be like, okay, it's hearsay, right? Be like, oh, you should use Gina. They're like, okay, yeah. And they may or may not use you, but if they have a clip to be able to send me like, this is the realtor I was telling you about.
Right.
This is why you should use her. Look how knowledgeable, look how nice she is.
Right.
That's what really, resonates with people and gets the, I'd say conversion rate, but also just the amount of people that are going to reach out to you up, especially if you're doing it well, because people, they already know you.
Right.
And it was funny.
It does. They feel they know you now.
Because they do to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I mean, like anybody that watches these knows me to a certain degree as well. And, because I do recruiting, for the company as well. And I remember before one of our agents who shall remain nameless in this sense, before she joined the company, she was watching like these videos. And she told me after she joined, she's like, I sent your videos to like my friends in the business who also joined the company.
Oh, get out.
Yes. And she was just like, hey, I sent your interview with Jane Mueller. I sent it with Karen Scarpa. I sent it with Adamski, and like, they got to know me. And then when it came down to when I actually had them come into the office for like a face-to-face meeting, she already knew
it was
me.
Comfortable.
Yeah. Right. And it was a completely different game. She was just like, I'd like to, join the company. I know what you guys are about. I've seen like Carl's training. I've been there live and I've seen you online. So I feel like I know you guys already.
It is pretty,
like, wow, that's
it does put a different element to it.
100%.
I definitely see it now.
Yeah. And I think that's the part that agents need to buy into and like fully understand if they're going to use video. That it's like it's not just your normal form of advertising, and then it becomes something where like someone just hits you up. Like it is a branding tool. It is a marketing tool. It's a little bit of everything. It's lead gen. It's marketing. It's branding.
Right.
So I also kind of wanted to ask you about your inspirations and how you stay focused in the business, either inside or outside influences that really keep you going.
I'm going to say I really just have such a drive and a passion for this business. I really do. What inspires me is my sons. I hope I'm leading by example for them to become, they both seem to have entrepreneurial mindset as well.
Gotcha.
But I just love what I do. I'm very thankful. I figured it. Well, I wish I figured it out a little younger, but I didn't want to be locked in, like I said, to a job.
Right.
And once I realized what this was about for me, I mean, years ago when the kids were small, I was at the beach with a friend and I was negotiating a contract. We had the cell phones already had kicked in by then.
Yeah.
And she's like, I hang up the phone. She's like, gee, doesn't that like drive you nuts? And I'm like, no, we're at the beach with our kids. I'm looking at the ocean and negotiating a house for somebody. I'm like, it's the perfect storm for me.
Yeah, I mean, like it doesn't get better than this.
Right. I'm not on the phone the whole day with our, the client or the agent in the back and forth. It was a beautiful thing.
Yes.
That's why I say it's like a lifestyle. You've got to be okay with it may interfere, which I don't look at it as interfere with what you're doing that day, but it's not the whole day it's taken up.
Yeah.
And like I said, it allowed me to be the mom I wanted to be. I didn't want to be in an office and my kids were doing this and I was never involved with whatever they were doing.
Yeah.
So for me, it was perfect. And now that my kids are older and they don't need me as much, I feel like a whole field has opened up for me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because now it's really like my lifestyle.
Well, as long as you set the healthy boundaries, then
correct. Then
this business is exactly that of just saying like, well, I love what I'm doing. I love getting the home for my client. I love negotiating.
Oh,
the deal.
I love
and then
that.
It's just like, then whatever background you're in, whether you're at the beach or you're in the office or like you're like on the road or something like that. Like as long as your life, you're able to live your life and have a healthy balance, then this business is perfect.
It is perfect.
That's awesome.
For me, not for everybody, but it's for me.
Of course. Well, I just wanted to, thank you so much for coming on. I know that you have some experience, with video, so you're a little bit more comfortable than maybe the average person I had on.
Yeah.
You did great.
Thank you
so much. And before we wrap up, I just wanted to, offer it up to you if there's anything that you wanted to talk about, anything you wanted to promote.
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. If I think of something, I'll go live on Facebook myself.
There you go. Perfect. Well, thank you so much, Gina. Thank you guys all for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.